Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Hades 2, and last time we had one of our craziest runs ever, and by that I mean it was unbelievably overpowered. We just deleted every enemy that we encountered, so that was pretty great. We did also finish the run, so that means we made progress toward getting enough Chronos kills to see the new true ending, and that'll be more of what we're looking to do today. And it looks like the bonus bones weapon would be the torches. We can figure out which aspect we'd like here. Now, after having used all of the torch aspects and maxed them out, does feel like it is the weakest of all of the weapon varieties. We've only used the aspect of Supai, I think once, maybe a Chaos Trial. I don't know if we ended up doing one for it. We certainly saw one. But we, I think, have the least experience with this alongside Eos, which we definitely have only used once. This one was painfully weak. Aspect of Supai was just incredibly weird, to the point where it felt like it might have been weak. Maybe I was just playing it horribly wrong. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe we give that a try now. The whole thing about it is that, well, it's kind of hard to explain. You see, we have several attacks that just go on automatically. I don't remember which one is technically... I think the projectile that we're shooting out is the attack, and the things circling us, those orbs, I think those are our special? Hold on. Yeah, okay, so that's charge attack, but it definitely looks like a stronger version of the projectile, and then the orbs, oh no, that's cast, hold on. Yeah, okay, special is, that would be the orbs. Okay, so, yeah, this is all very strange, because you don't have a default attack, yeah. So, you can do this, you can dance, or you can do the charge attack, or you can just let the auto attacks do their thing, which, I guess, between the special and the attack, it does eventually start to add up, but it feels very strange. So, that's what we would be working with. Maybe we give it a shot, but the other thing is we get 30% extra damage on our sprint boon, our dash boon. So I think the previous time when we used this, it took us a while to get a good dash boon, maybe in part because we were trying to wait for the perfect one, and it wasn't until like the third floor that we eventually got one, and at that point we'd already been struggling a bit through the first two floors, or at least we had to be very patient as we were waiting for the damage to proc. So that is something to bear in mind. As for which familiar, I mean, we do have Rocky right now, and it's probably the most offensive of all the familiars, unless you want to completely circumvent doing the damage yourself and just have Tula do it for you, so I guess that's an option too. I think if we go Jeweled Palm, that can certainly help. At the moment, our Arcana cards are set up for the Fate Swim, so that's fine. Excellent. And that way, even if we do get a common rarity or rare rarity dash boon, it'll still at least be leveled up a bit, so it'll still be okay from that standpoint. And if we do wait it out a little bit, we can potentially use the calling card, which is now maxed. And that way we can make sure that we get the rarity on the dash boon that we're looking for. Then when it comes to other prophecies, many of them, we think we're going to have to wait until we finish the new true ending. However, we did... Wait. What? We did do that. Why is it still showing up there? We got this. Just surprised that this seems to suggest that we should still gather that resource. I wonder if we can actually do it twice before going up to Medea with that item. I would have expected this to say, go to Medea with the item that we just acquired. So it's a little strange, because I think we are about to go down again rather than going up and see Medea. But as for other things to bear in mind, I'm just not sure there's too much we can target here specifically. Other than we did actually seemingly make a little bit of progress on Arachne's subplot line. So maybe we can see her again this go round. But I think at this point, we're good to go. We're going to go Fearless, I think. It would have to be, yeah, it'd have to be on the surface anyway with the torches. And I definitely do not have the confidence to do 16 Fear with this aspect in the underworld, let alone the surface. But I think we're going Fearless because we just want to make sure we have time to get all of the runs in for the true ending, and obviously we have less risk of failing on the run when there's no fear at all. But this weapon aspect, I don't know. It's different. It didn't feel like it went well last time. Let's see, what did we gain from this? Cast launch a projectile that does a lot of damage. 200, which especially on the first floor is a lot. Okay, and then Poseidon is kind of interesting because if we're going to have attacks that are circling around us or technically specials that are circling around us repeatedly, then having knockback on that could be kind of nice for crowd control / defensive purposes. Oh, and Chaos. Ideal timing for that.
Victory after victory! You're making all of this look rather easy. Well then, sail on, and may my blessing make things easier still.
Thanks. Okay, so, as I was saying, even if we get we would like a very good dash boon, and I do like Poseidon's dash boon. Rare is kind of an awkward rarity, because we can't rarefy it later on with Narcissus. But as I was saying before, at least it's level 4, so it's still half decent. Otherwise... Ooh. Yeah, I'm not really liking what we're seeing here. I think we might just take this. And we do... Wow. Okay, well that did not go according to plan. We do have a cast that hits quite hard. Okay, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not feeling as enthused about seeing Chaos right now as I once was. I think we'll still do it, but definitely took more damage in that room than I had wanted to, and now taking 11 more damage walking in here. Not ideal. I think we do still get a little bit of healing from the Arcana card even after going into the Chaos room though, which is nice, because that helps mitigate the damage a little bit.
No longer in his residence. I sense much has changed. If he is not far from there, perhaps I shall assist you in locating him.
Oh, okay. I was confused by the first part of that statement. So I was like, you're the creator of everything. So by speaking to you right now, we have met not only our creator, but everyone and everything's creator. But then you started specifically talking about Hades himself, who we obviously have met, and I guess Chaos is basically saying, well, I don't have a creator, because I'm the original, I am the primordial originator, so I don't know what that's like personally. We've never had this before. Ooh. Oh. Well, yeah, that's why. Because you need to be lightning fast, otherwise we basically take enough damage to force us into using a Death Defiance. Afterward we get Magic Restoration, which I'm not even sure is all that useful for us, at least not so much at this stage. I mean, our cast is our best source of damage right now by a wide margin, so if we were to spam casts, we might be able to do this in time. Otherwise, we go this route, we cannot use the cast, but we can go as slowly as we'd like. We get gold for the rest of the run. That is really good to get that early on. Otherwise, if we would use magic, we prime. Afterward, we get healing. I mean, that's useful. I mean, this is probably the safest, and it's the middle ground in many ways. Could argue this is more valuable than this, although honestly, given how much damage we took in that first room, I am not necessarily against getting more healing, so maybe we'll go for this one, and the weapon aspect itself is where we're going to get the Chaos. I swear that was not... It's not intended to be a pun. The Chaos from. Okay, let's do this though.
Prepare, fishy.
Prepare to be caught. Pretty sure I've said that every time Elinui has said this.
Got a bite.
And there's a Mati.
Another Marty.
And I think, although Hermes does not benefit from the levels from the Jeweled Palm, there might be 1 or 2 Hermes boons, but I think, generally speaking, his boons cannot be leveled up. There are still some things that are really good to get early on from him. Otherwise, do this. We know it's going to hit the dash boon, which is kind of nice. Or the life, I don't think we'd want to do that. We'll go here. Oh, right. We can... Wait. We took the one that does allow us to cast, right? I think. I don't think we took damage from using our cast. Well, we crit with our cast. Right, except that this, that was the dash boon knocking him away. We do actually need to aim this cast. Unlike many other ones, this one does have an aiming aspect to it. But yeah, I can absolutely see a world in which we take a lot of damage on this run, so I think the healing could definitely pay off.
You made it pretty far down there before. Impressive work. I knew you had it in you, but Graham still isn't backing down, is he? Maybe he's having second thoughts at least.
That's the hope. Okay, let's see. Whenever we slay a foe, we get to... I mean, this is the... Use clear speed to get more clear speed. I think we could do travel deal. I mean, this would work really well if we had taken that extra gold earning boon from Chaos, but... Oh, well.
All right.
We'll have to make do. Okay, well, this is still a guaranteed level up on you, because, again, this cannot be leveled. So that's actually kind of ideal, in a way. Oh. Not gonna lie, that terrain kill was so loud and significant that I thought that it was Heracles spawning in, just because of how dramatic his entrance usually is. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense for a variety of reasons, but it reminded me of that at the very least. Okay, so now we do this. And now we get more damage from that. We're getting lots of resources already. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Okay, we'll go bones, I think. Well, bones are more useful as a resource in the crossroads. If we are legitimately concerned about taking a bunch of damage, then even just 5 extra max life is maybe somewhat meaningful, but gonna be, oh, a little more optimistic.
Take your shot, sister.
And having the assistance of Artemis, and ideally not getting trapped in that corner. Please do not follow me. I'm just gonna let Artemis do her thing over there.
Check your aim.
Check your aim. I hit my target. I was just waiting for you to hit yours. I think. Alright, there we go.
In you go.
Barely got a shot in.
There you are.
For her? Usually I think that is reflective of how the encounter went, and I guess with our cast we did kill most of the enemies that she would otherwise have attacked.
You found Kronos. Sank your fangs into his throat. Sister Hecate gave me the gist. How'd you do it? Found some exploitable weakness, something like that?
You really made it sound like a vampire there.
Mostly I just kept evading a lot. He's very powerful, but must have underestimated my ability to resist his tricks.
Last time that is not a very accurate description. Last time we basically just stood right next to him and smashed him to bits with a gigantic maul.
He won't always underestimate you, though. Must have his vulnerabilities. The old are seldom wise and often weak, right? He's bloodied. Go for the kill.
Oh. Alright, let's see. Charge cast fires an arrow. Foes with at least 80% life may take critical damage. Remember, we have Rocky. So we do already have some critical stuff working in our favor. Casts? Wait, foes in our casts may take critical damage from our attacks. I might go for vital signs.
Together we shine.
Okay. Ooh.
Got to go.
Mini boss
Fight on.
after this makes me a little nervous, but we could give it a shot. Let's see. We could get even more healing. We can make ourselves take less damage. Oh, right. The first thing we purchase even from these mini shops gets discounted and then will get replaced by something else. So we could even double up, and these may even be active for the rest of the floor. If not, then close to it.
Should come in handy.
Oh, that's not very useful as a second item. Or an extra item showing up. Let's go in here. We're a little bit stronger now. We take less damage. We do more damage with our special, which is, again, those are the circling orbs. Let's see which these guys we get. It's you. I hate that I missed with that cast. Oh, I was about to say, wow, the way that just made our camera flash that quickly. I was about to say, this is almost a good matchup for us because we could just focus on running around and not getting hit, and our automatic attack and special will just deal damage to you. But then I accidentally got caught in the attack and took some damage.
In the name of Hades.
Okay, here we can get attacks, we can get higher rarity special. Ooh. Earlier you get buried treasure, the better it is. So it is a little tempting from that standpoint. Obviously, these are the two main categories that we want to be using for this build. In addition to the dash, and then we made the cast relevant because we happened to get a boon from the Jewel of the Palm. It makes our casts much stronger. I think we still go for this.
Surging on.
Treasure from the sea.
Thank you. Alright. So this is already turning into a Poseidon run specifically. Yes, the cast isn't quite enough to one-shot every enemy, but it is close. Oh, okay. Not a fan of how many enemies just spawned in. What happened to the cast? I shot it straight at them and it just didn't do anything. What gives? Oh, that was... I honestly don't even know if he hit me or not. It looked close. Okay, Chaos Boon is now evolved. So now we get a lot of healing at this point. In between rooms. And this is not the penultimate room, this shop. But we have enough gold now, courtesy of that Poseidon boon in large part, that we can go here, still spend fairly aggressively, and hopefully still have enough to buy in the actual penultimate room. And because we have Travel Deal, we do benefit quite a lot from targeting these shops. Ooh. Well, definitely gonna go that route. Attacks knock foes away and have extra power. I'm not sure how that's gonna work with this aspect. Attacks linger for 2 additional seconds, launch back toward us after we dash. Projectiles from our special orbit 20% faster. I really don't know, especially with this aspect, which of those things is best. If we had a good attack or special boon, then that would probably be the tiebreaker. But we obviously don't have either of those things right now, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna do this. The knock foes away I feel like could be a problem for us with our theoretically limited range. Let's do... I think I will do this now. I think this is still the only boon we have that can be leveled up, which is technically good, because it benefits from the aspect. Then we do you. I think we might end up skipping you. Just hoping for a boon. Oh, we can't afford it anyway, although there is a golden urn in here. I'm not sure I realized you could even get this before you already have a Zeus boon. I thought that was kind of a prerequisite. Now, of course, both of these can be incredible, the attack and the special. And they do have a few levels from the keepsake. Again, the fact that the rare rarity is kind of an awkward in-between, but let's go with the hammer we just took. We prioritize special, so let's go special. And
Coin for Charon.
still not enough, even if we wanted to buy stuff there. Okay, but we're definitely going here. Yeah, it's worth 75% more. And we have more opportunities to use it. Wow. I don't know if we've ever seen this room before. Excuse me. Coming through. It is kind of nice that they're all standing next to each other, where it's kind of easier to do that. And now mini shop, which I suppose if we were not as aggressive in the previous mini shop, we could have potentially still afforded that max life upgrade from the previous full-blown shop, but I think that's okay. We don't really need any of these things, I don't think. Technically, that is powering up our attack a lot for 6 encounters, so it is nice. I mean, it's way more than the damage we would get from an attack boon, but is that really necessary? What if we do it and then we do this? And just attempt
Something I need.
to cheese it a bit? Okay, definitely not gonna bother with that, though. Okay, do this. I was thinking that I was gonna spam the cast a lot. But I hate it when these types of encounters just give us nothing but ranged enemies. Okay, patience. Tongue grasshopper. There we go. Huzzah. And we only have 2 things that can be upgraded on level. Might still be looking for the dash boon, to be honest. Long term, you could argue the attack boon would have been better, or the special rather, would have been better, but that's alright. I think we're still skipping this. Go here. Get some more. Do we get bonus bones from that Poseidon boon that we picked up earlier? Okay, now I am actually making a deliberate point of running into all the trees for terrain kills. Oops. And ignoring some of the other things accidentally in the process. This is so rare that I've made a point of doing that in the past. It's kind of fun. Or just deliberately leaning in on using the dash boon. That has to be getting increased. There's no way this was going to be 88 bones
For the broker.
by default.
Looks valuable, Rocky.
Thank you, Rocky. We, for whatever reason, have not found ourselves using Selene as much as of late. It's early enough that, yes, it is still a good time to pick her up, but obviously it does depend on how much we think we're going to be using charged skills, and haven't really needed them all that much yet. That is, of course, subject to change. I'm just eyeing this and thinking about, yes, technically from a mathematical standpoint, we already have several boons that are leveled up enough that we will get diminishing returns on these. That will be the case for every boon that we can level because of the jeweled palm. But it also is just fun to see the number go up, even if it's technically not as effective as the earlier palm level upgrades would be. So, yeah, we should probably still do that. It's the right choice. I was just trying to make an excuse to go the other route because I thought it might have been a little more fun. Okay, now I'm just trying to dash into absolutely everything and see if that's enough to kill all these enemies. But it does mean that I will probably end up getting hit on a few occasions, but that's why we took the extra healing.
There. I bid you shine for me again.
So it's been a while since we last saw Selene.
Nothing escapes the notice of the Silver Sisters. I in the heavens, the goddess of the hunt on the surface, you beneath the earth, and the witch of the crossroads between realms. Now, we no longer merely observe, but act.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure I realized that the Silver Sisters included Hecate, because we've definitely seen Selene and also Artemis use that term before. I don't know that we've ever heard Hecate refer to herself that way.
A god
Oh.
may cross your path.
Oh, the healing one? Oh, we have very little in the way of boon-giving gods and goddesses to give us duo potential. This would be Hestia. And we already have a lot of healing. 5 from the Arcana card, and then plus 10 for you, so 15 every room. So that's already as much as at least the base version of Moon Water. And it's unlimited, or it's every room, whereas this is only up to 3 times per fountain. So I feel like getting a burst of damage is more so what we're looking for here, so I might take this and then we just try to make a point of picking up Hestia later on.
Eclipse.
Because the duo for her is really good. Oh. I want to take it. However, we have Travel Deal. So we can potentially get extra items from this shop. And we have extra golden ring potential. So even though we don't have a ton of gold right now, we should be in good enough shape to still be aggressive going forward. So I feel like we go in here, we cross our fingers that we see Hestia, and if not, I mean, we could even take Hestia's keepsake later on.
Observe.
Oh, observe indeed.
The trap is set as steadily the princess waits.
On the hook.
There we go.
This is a soul belly.
Was a little star there for a second, right where that guy just popped up out of the water, suggesting there's going to be some lore here, but maybe that was just because we had Homer saying stuff. Okay, Hestia does appear here. Now, on one hand, in this case, we're paying for the boon, whereas if we went in the other room, we would have gotten it for free. However, on the other hand, by purchasing this, we will also get another item showing up in its place, which is the main reason why I went here. So this is kind of ideal, despite
Name of Hades.
it costing us more monies. Okay, so it kind of doesn't matter what we get from her, because we're just taking her, in part at least, for our Hex. Kind of like the idea of getting the cast from her. I feel like that works kind of well with the Howling Soul. That way it has big burst damage up front and then damage over time as well. And then, obviously, we can get an attack boon later on. Magic Restoration when we attack in special. That is kind of an interesting concept with our weapon aspect that we're using right now, because it's almost like the equivalent of the Aphrodite boon for Magic Restoration, where you restore magic just by standing next to people, because that's how we're using our attack and our special. And I do like that Aphrodite Magic Restoration keepsake, but I think we'll hold off on that, and we'll take you. More Hestia, and we can afford it.
In the name of Hades.
Ooh. We could take the attack boon, and then potentially use Narcissus at some point on the keepsake to rank this up significantly. Be kind of tempting. Otherwise, the sacrifice, not sure we really want to be doing that at this stage when we just have so few boons to work with. And obviously going into a boss fight, this would be helpful, but I think if we have exactly one common boon, then that always makes me think about the Narcissus keepsake, and it just feels like this is one that's more meaningful to upgrade with that than this would be. So let's keep our options open with that. The timing is obviously ideal from that standpoint, because we could potentially do that right after this encounter,
Now for the test.
and we'll save the rest of our gold.
Steady yourself. Trust in your training ere you reach your destination at the house. That and your connection to Kronos affords you some degree of control over his abilities. An unwitting inheritance he gave to you.
She referring to some kind of game mechanic here? Not? If so, I'm not sure what it is.
My knowledge of Dream, his command over time. A potent combination, but one I know I must approach with a great deal of caution and respect.
Wasn't sure if that was technically supposed to be a borderline fourth wall break or not. I don't know that it
matters
was.
with caution and respect shall rarely lead you astray. I shall await word of whatever it is you discover, and whether our plans may come to pass.
You know, this is actually kind of interesting, because this is almost, in a way, some of the plot progression build-up stuff that I've talked about many times before, that usually we would only get when we're back in the crossroads talking to Hecate, rather than right before we actually fight her. Yeah, that's a lot of damage from that cast. Enough that two of them alone is basically enough to phase her. I don't really think I did much of anything else to her. We could run into her if we want. Just get the Poseidon boom talking. Nope, no. Don't get me yet. Ah, darn it. Not that we needed to, but I was kind of intrigued by trying to take out some of the witches while we were still in this form by using a cast. Getting the dot to apply. I guess I probably could have done it preemptively in a way. That was not the last one. Oops. Silly Hecate. You're dead.
I think you won.
What was that sound effect they had on her voice?
Impressive little star.
That was strange. It sounded like she was falling down an endless abyss or something like that. Got this. Any smack talk? No smack talk this time. All right, don't need the heal. Well, actually, hold on. May not need the healing, but we may need it for this if we are in fact interested in going this route. The alternative probably would have been, I mean, it could be Moonbeam. We haven't used it much as of late because we haven't seen much of Selene as of late. But the other thing that we've been, at least we used last time, is the calling card, which is quite useful now that it is maxed out, the rarity on this. But we can probably use this to power up our attack boon significantly.
The file.
I think that's good enough reason to go this route. Would have been nice if I had remembered to check what this number was beforehand so we could get it before and after, but you guys can go back to look. As for what we get here... I mean, this is actually very useful with Travel Deal in particular, although we're getting this right at the beginning of the floor, which means it very likely would not be active anymore by the time we get to the final shop. It would likely only be active in mini shops like this, or in if we were to get an extra full-blown shop mid-floor, which is usually not guaranteed. So I just think the timing is really unfortunate there, and for that reason, probably still gonna skip it.
Onward.
But if we do see another mini shop partway through the floor that has that, then I'd be much more keen on taking that. Because there's just a chance we would have little to no opportunity to benefit from that. And right now, we need all the gold we can get. One moment.
Acceptable. Fetch that, please, Rocky.
Okay. So, oh, that gave us a free fire boon. Okay, so oftentimes we have, when we do have a hex, made a point of targeting Selene rooms quite aggressively. I don't know that I'm going to do that here, though, in large part because of Travel Deal plus Buried Treasure. I'm leaning toward going this route. There's actually a very good reason for going all these rooms. The reasons I just described for going here. We have the Jeweled Palm still active, giving us extra levels, and this is the only one that would benefit from that if we go the Apollo room. And then Selene, we have her Hex, but we don't yet have the Duo version active. We are now eligible for it, but we don't yet have it active, so that'd be a good reason to go here. So, not sure there's really any wrong choice. Maybe we do this, because might be able to get enough gold through other means. Yeah, that cast is strong. And it's kind of odd, because initially, that was going to be the type of skill that we were not going to have much reason to use until we started off with this, and then happened to get... It's not even a high rarity. It's level 4, which is useful, but... And now we go here. Now we're eligible for this, and we do have just enough points to get there, and it is a really good one, which is another reason why I was pretty interested in going this route. Damage, area... Oh, let's at least take a look at what these are. Those move more slowly. Those take more damage. Fires your charge cast, which is strong at this point. So there's potentially reason to go up for that. Which would be reason to take either this one or this one, because it makes us a little bit, it makes us 1 point closer to the final one. We'll go here for now, so that means larger area, charges up more after hitting the boss, and then we get the duo. Ooh, now why would we do that when we can do this? And more chaos, wow. Okay, Zeus creates circles on the ground. Hestia, I think, has a heat-seeking fireball. Might make Hestia mad.
Why, thank you.
That's a lot of damage. However, whenever we use magic, doesn't have to be charge moves, but whenever we use magic. Now, at the moment, that's a distinction without a difference, but in the future, that may not be the case. Because as I was kind of saying before, we haven't really had much reason to use charge moves yet. If we had another way to use magic, that'd be kind of nifty. I think that's probably still the answer regardless. So otherwise you're doing this, which is also based on charge moves. Hestia's displeased.
Here I was, trying to lend a helping hand, but no. Somebody's always getting in my way. Well, I won't have it.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, I said that first. Oh, she does the bouncing fiery projectile. Okay. Ah. It's a little hard to distinguish between her fiery projectile stuff and ours. Not gonna lie. That's okay. Mission accomplished. No damage taken.
Dearie. So I'm not going to turn you to ash this time.
Thanks.
Later down the line, no guarantees.
Alright, let's see. This is the single target one against bosses, which is nice. Gain chance to dodge, which is doubled against Scorch afflicted foes. I don't remember seeing this. Well, Hot Pot, I recognize the name, I remember that. It's the magic restoration. Still, as I was saying, don't really have much in the way of reasons or ways to spend magic besides just basic charge up moves. I mean, yes, this is probably the right choice. I just don't love that it's only common rarity, and I wish that we were able to rarefy it. Maybe we'll wait until we can get it later on when maybe we will have the keepsake that allows us to verify anything. So we'll stick with this for now. Okay, would be mini-boss Ares, Zeus, or Chaos. I think it probably is still Chaos. Room number is this? It's pretty close to the final boss, or the boss of this floor. So we need to be mindful of the downside of this boon quite a bit, but we have a lot of healing, so we should be able to heal off the damage we take quite easily. Just need to be careful that we don't take something that is just horribly, horribly bad on the downside. Okay, well that is a crafting resource. This is a crafting resource.
By the will of chaos.
And here... This would include a boss fight. So, no thank you. Each time we use charge moves, we take damage afterward. We move faster. Okay, no, we're not bricking the cast before this boss fight. We're probably not going to do this before the boss fight either. This, though, the sprint speed does facilitate setting up this dash boon, which is quite good. Level, and because of the level and because of that 30% boost, which kind of makes up for it only being rare. Just can't use charge moves. Ooh. So it's not the penultimate room. It is a mid-floor shop. As I was saying, those are not guaranteed. It would be an opportunity to benefit even more from Travel Deal. However, we passed on the extra gold in one of the previous rooms, and that means we can't really afford to buy 2 things from this shop. If we did, we would only just barely be able to afford it, and we wouldn't have enough for the actual penultimate room shop. So I think we'll go mini-boss. We'll get high rarity Apollo, apparently. Which one is it? That's this guy again. I don't like this guy. Fortunately, we can bully these dudes quite a bit. Okay, we got poked at the beginning, but otherwise, I think our build is quite good for this encounter, fortunately. Oh, I wasn't trying to proceed, I was trying to pick up the reward, thank you very much.
You struck a solid blow against the Titans' forces, but they've started to regroup. Still, these types of victories must shake them to the core. Let's drive them back.
Alright, let's see. Pass expire gives us extra magic. Attack can hit twice. Our attack boon is really good. That's not bad. After charge cast expires, rapidly deals area damage for 2 seconds. It's technically a damage over time. We can't use charge moves in the short term because of this. However, if we do end up fully upgrading our Hex, then it does give us the effect of our charge cast, which having more charge cast synergies would make that extra effective. But that's a ways away. So I think we might just go for the more straightforward option here. Okay, and then I think we'll probably end up going Narcissus, in part because although his rewards tend not to be great, he did actually give us a very good upgrade last time round. But this is not exactly inspiring over here with the ashes.
Don't mind me.
It's nice and airy over there. Yeah.
He's actually not thinking about himself for once.
It's you. Huh, it's only you. Been getting crowded lately between all these chats and what's her name stomping around. At least you're not her.
Who is her? Who is she?
What's her name? That sounds like Nemesis.
Oh.
Scornful expression, dark hair and armor. What's your concern with her?
Gives me a bad vibe. Storms around,
Me too.
shakes everything up. Something about her, I don't know. Don't hurt my head, okay?
Let's see. Oh, the gold is kind of meaningful. We don't need the healing. Palm Slice. It depends what it lands on. Yes, we have the diminishing returns, like I was saying before. I think, given how we have a pretty big need for gold. Oh, that unfortunately did not get affected by you. I'm kind of surprised that it didn't, to be honest. It's a bit disappointing, but at least now we should have enough gold that we can likely get aggressive once again at the shop in the penultimate room. Okay, so there are a lot of enemies here. However, we might just have the perfect build for taking out these guys. Less so with the snail guy. These guys have armor, which is less ideal, but still. Look at that! I did get hit a little bit by, again, I think these bigger armored guys, but still. That was pretty awesome. Okay, so this is now going to be the penultimate room. There is a mini shop just there, but I want to be mindful of not leaving too much of our gold. I think we're going to pass on these things. This can be incredible when combined with something really strong. It's useful when combined with Python scales. I don't know that it's game-changing. We've had this combined with the upgrade that we saw at the beginning of the floor, the one that we opted not to take that makes all shop purchases cost less. And that is absolutely incredible. I mean, technically we can buy this now, speculatively, and just wait for the next mini shop and see if there's something else that we would rather have affected by this. Technically. But, and also by buying this, something else will take its place in this shop. But given how we only just... Well, if we are to buy this, it's expensive. So that means that might very well be the difference between us being able to afford multiple things in the next shop and not being able to afford multiple things in the next shop. So I think instead we'll prioritize travel deal here.
Rocky fetch.
We don't need either of these things, but we definitely want you and potentially whatever gets put in its place. Magic restoration. Ooh, this could be very good. This also could be quite good. I like how, I'm just thinking of that previous encounter where we had a bunch of the little enemies who were swarming us, and for the most part we already have pretty awesome area of effect with our orbiting sphere. However, if taking out one enemy gives us another burst of damage, that could just be incredible. Ooh, speaking of which, that seems pretty incredible. We could take this. That's not bad. Even at common rarity, we have a lot of scorch effects between the cast, the attack, and possibly even the duo hex. Does that count as scorch? Yeah, it does. So I'm mostly thinking about the hex, to be honest, when I look at this. That is possible we could see it later on, and with higher rarity, it's always going to be at least level 4. Have we seen this evolve yet? No, we have not. So we can't really benefit from this in the short term. Did we end up taking that other thing, the Zoo Spoon, that benefits from us spending magic, and we were looking for another way to potentially do just that without having to use charge moves? That's not the case here, it just increases the cost of it, but... I'll do this. I think the other one is certainly better, at least in the short term, of course, because we just can't even use this at all right now. Here will be Skilla and the Sirens. I don't know that our setup is going to be as effective against her and other boss enemies as it was against the basic enemies.
We can't have you bugging Mr. Kronos every night. He doesn't pay much attention to our venue here, and we want to keep it that way.
Oh, really? I think she might be saying this because we've now gone several runs in a row down rather than going up. But interesting that you don't want Kronos' attention, because you're kind of sort of on the same side as him, of course.
I don't think Kronos is concerned with you at all.
Ouch.
So maybe back off. Focus on your songwriting instead of trying to asphyxiate me constantly.
You know, that is fair.
Oh, she doesn't get it, gals. But don't worry. They're never gonna shut us down, not while we keep on drawing crowds like this. It's good publicity.
She just doesn't get it. Asphyxiation is an important part of our culture. Except it is. In her case, it legitimately is. She has at least one song that is kind of focused on it. Is it this one? It is. Sort of. Yeah. This is, or at least, yeah, this is the one I was thinking of. And this is, I think, my favorite of their songs. Ooh, that's not a great place to be standing for that. Oh, that's convenient that was enough to take you out, though. And you, too. Okay, so does seem as though the attack and special are not great against her, but that's alright. Wait, what? You said everybody now. I wasn't looking at what it said for who the featured artist was. Did she actually just make everyone the featured artist simultaneously? Because we've never seen that before. Conceptually, that'd be really cool. But that's kind of a dramatic departure from... Oh, also, we should probably do this. I also didn't aim it at anyone, but I'm not sure that matters, because I think everyone gets scorch damage regardless. Oh. I think I took damage just from standing directly on top of her, which I admittedly have never done before. But we also could have killed her there by not necessarily trying to attack her directly, but just using that new area of effect damage we get from defeating enemies. And use that to just farm kills on the little fishies. And indirectly take her down, which would have been kind of cool. But the build is strong, in case that wasn't clear. Okay, so we already have used Narcissus. That is not a factor here, but I was thinking we'd use the other Fate's Whim keepsake that gives us the ability to rank things up more easily. We do already have most of the key boon categories taken, so it's going to have to be mostly the secondary and support-oriented boons, but I think that's still okay. Otherwise, yes, Moonbeam would certainly be helpful, as it so often is when we have a nice hex, and we definitely do. But I think we'll be okay. I mean, we could skip out on these guys on the final floor and potentially take Moonbeam instead, which I don't think we've ever done before, but be kind of interesting. The tricky thing about that is that you only get to use the extra points for Moonbeam if you get Selene to show up. And she is technically supposed to show up more likely, or more quickly, with Moonbeam, but I think it has happened to us at least once when we've taken Moonbeam on a floor and Selene has not shown up on that floor. And obviously, if that's the final floor when you use Moonbeam, then it just means you're never going to get any value out of it in that case. So, getting a little ahead of ourselves there, but let's go here. And at least by getting to the duo aspect on the Hex. Oh, right. Even if we don't get any more Selene at all, we got the big thing that we were hoping for. There are still other things to be gained, but... Oh, we potentially could have chained multiple of these together. Wait. Yeah, right? This is what we saw in the previous mini shop. Yeah. Okay, but we can't afford it now anyway.
Long way down. Look for the markers.
Is there something over there? No? Okay. Admittedly, on this room specifically, I very rarely find myself looking around to see if there are any bonus resources of any variety. So there is a chance that on many previous runs, we've just completely missed that stuff, but oh well. I do like the Hermes. Probably start with the... Whoa, hello. Yeah, because we have a lot of Scorch damage, so that Hestia boon that we saw previously that makes the Scorch proc more quickly, that would be useful. But, I was gonna say we should start with the other one. Because it would be useful for Echo. Oh, where did you come from?
Chaos came alive.
But, as I've said many times before, it might be completely impossible for Echo to show this early.
Olympus, I accept this message.
Ooh, this is ideal to combine with Travel Deal, especially if we rank it up, which we can do. That is ideal with this, although we don't need to actually be pressing the we don't need to be waiting on the dash itself. We can be holding the sprint button. In fact, that is usually the way that I use it. So I don't know that this actually does help us that much with the dash boon, so I think we rarefy you. Potentially as much as possible. And now we have the ideal combo to go along with Travel Deal. And we still have 3 rarifications left on you. Got great value on it already. But that is also the reason why we wanted to do Hermes as quickly as possible, because we definitely benefited a lot from that. And then that just upgraded. Hold on. Does that guy attack us when we're in the pause menu or not? I'm not sure. There's a power surge, which sounds like something from Hestia. No. Apparently it is something from Zeus. It's the one for using magic, which we would like to find a way to do that a little bit more. I'm kind of looking for the bow. Where is it? It's all the way over here? What the heck? It's usually roughly in the middle. Oh. I guess it kind of is. Oh no. No, that's a minor gold upgrade, isn't it? It for a second looked like it was a major gold upgrade, and I was going to say, I thought there were only 2 major encounters in this room. But if there was a third, then okay, at that point, yes, this is in the middle. But no, it's really on the edge. Also, the fact that we did Hermes before picking up that gold means we got more out of it. So that's very nice. Now we do this.
This corruption.
Oh. I totally meant to do that. And we'll just do this, because we can. Alright. Upgrade the attack a little bit. The cast. Chance to get double attacks. Right. I think we'll still make this stronger. Think we have everything we're looking for at this point. Ooh. Ooh. Mini bosses. And I think we are more keen on going the Zeus route here, because the only thing we only have one thing from Apollo, and what even was it? Oh, it was the extra attack chance. So it's just a little hard to focus on Apollo's synergies when we don't have any major boon categories from Apollo, whereas we do from Zeus.
This way feels
right. Which mini-boss is it? It's these ones. I think it's probably better for our build because the vampire dude might be kind of hard to avoid taking hits from, given how we do kind of need to go point blank. Okay, that works there. One moment. And do this, then we do this. And let's just not get hit by you. There we go.
Hear me on my authority.
Let's see. Magic restoration, damage from charge moves. We saw this before, but it was common rarity at the time, I think. Your strikes emit chain lightning that bounce up to 4 times, but we prime magic. That might still be good. And might be worth rarefying. We have learned now that even after you switch off of this keepsake, it continues to give you the option to use whatever unused charges you may still have remaining. Kind of like how even after switching off of the jeweled palm, it is still active. So we don't necessarily need to rush to use our extra rarifications. But the reason why I'm kind of interested in doing that here is because we do have a lot of different attacks that are happening simultaneously. It's both the attack and the special, maybe even the dash at the same time. So having all of those things do extra bits of damage and increasing that damage is kind of interesting. However, technically speaking, we are 1 air boon away from being eligible for Zeus's infusion, and any of these would get us to that threshold. And if we do see that infusion show up, which is speculative, it obviously has not shown up yet, then that means everything does a minimum of 50 damage, which means leveling this up is meaningless. So, yeah, that's all theoretical, so maybe I'll take this just to play it a little bit safe, but if Zeus's infusion does not show up, then... Ooh. Hold on. It's Echo. May be able to get an extra copy of that. Or potentially something else entirely.
Message for me, Mel?
Oh. That was interesting. It seemed like Malinui was saying that deliberately to sort of set Echo up to say something meaningful to us.
Message for me, Mel? Message for me, Mel? Message for me, Mel? Why, yes. I saw Narcissus again recently, and he wanted me to tell you he said hi. For what it's worth, I think he's genuinely hoping that the two of you can still be friends. Can still be friends. Still be friends. Be friends. You've grown past your prior feelings for him. Though you don't mind if he still visits you now and again, do you? If he can tear himself away from his reflection. If he can tear himself away, tear himself away, tear himself away.
Oh. Meaningful conversation indeed. Okay, so we can get a copy of the Zeus boon. We can get dodge chance. We can get 1 of 3 boons from the previous night. We did get some really nice boons in our previous run. Many of which were... There was some Aphrodite, fair bit of Poseidon, and we do have some Poseidon stuff going on here. Nothing in the way of Aphrodite yet. We got, what, speed from Hermes, which would be kind of useful. I think Zeus might be the way to go here, given how we now have 5 air boons. Some of the Zeus boons we already have, to be honest, are not that useful yet, but might be able to change that by doing this.
Okay? Be strong. Strong. Strong.
Thanks, Echo.
In the name of Hades. In the name of Hades. Hades.
So there is the aforementioned infusion. So I think... Or rarefying that could also be fantastic, but let's take this while it's here. And that means that now... One of the... Oh, it was the Zeus boon that we opted not to take. We didn't level it up, but we also just didn't take it. So, yeah. I mean, yes, it still helps, for sure. But... There's more Zeus potential going forward now. Little Zeus stuff is much stronger. Ooh. Zeus, gold, and Selene. Solid across the board. One potential big highlight with the hammer. I feel like this is probably still better overall, though, because the other stuff in that room is not great. Oh, look at this. See, this time the bow is right in front of us, making it nice and easy. now the order doesn't really matter this stuff anymore. Went straight into it instead of trying to do the vacuum cleaner attack.
Focus.
That's annoying. Now you're gonna do the vacuum cleaner attack. We're about to do it on us again. Maybe I'll deliberately save that for the end when we're going to the next encounter, because not that we're about to get to Cerberus, but we're not that far away, so attempting to save some armor for him might not be the worst idea. Okay. Now the order doesn't really matter anymore, at least for echo purposes, it doesn't really matter.
Smackers.
And the annoying dude who makes everything all smoke cloudy. Okay, so remember in this floor that technically each of these encounters are sort of bundled all together, so we only have one God-sent version of our Hex across these 3 encounters. So I'm going to save it in case we see the mini-boss show up.
Olympus, I accept this message.
Okay, don't want this. This, I do want. Because it doesn't matter anymore that it's just common rarity. We don't need to rarefy it. This is the thing that benefits greatly from you. That's also nice, and we would want to rarefy that, but I think we take you. Okay. And now, let's go here. And this is what I was waiting for. Seeing if you were going to show up. That was not enough to take you out. Well, now it is. Alright. That's why we saved the God-sent version of the Hex. And with 3 extra points, we can get an extra round of it against bosses, which would be kind of nice. And then if we work our way up here, we'd have 2 more points. We can get damage after using it and larger area of effect. Sure. And it's not even like if we dedicated all of our points to going in this direction that we'd be able to get any of the big stuff. We'd still need a few more. So I think it's okay.
1 more left.
Now it's you. Okay, now I think we've gotten most of the big Zeus stuff that we were looking for. Being able to, count our lightning attacks twice, that's probably the biggest remaining thing from him, short of duo boons and legendary boons. But that's a lot of gold.
Could get going now.
Now we'll take this. But the other thing is the Hestia boon that makes Scorch proc more quickly. That's the other thing that I would definitely like to see. Ooh. Ooh. Don't usually see this as the choice to be made at this point. I think this is the penultimate room. Again, it's a little confusing on this floor sometimes since there are multiple rooms bundled into one. Usually the location number would be a little bit higher before the boss fight, but I think we're still going here so we can benefit from Travel Deal, because we definitely have enough money to do that now, and we're just banking on multiple things from the shop being more meaningful than a hammer upgrade. I know we passed on the hammer earlier as well. Yes, this is the penultimate room. Let's go. I think we want all of this. I think we'll oh, well, the first thing we get is at a discount. Okay, so we'll do this first, even if it technically means this is going to be a little bit harder to land on wounds we like. Let's see. Lots of stuff for charge moves. How much magic do we have? Because I was going to say, yeah, it feels like we primed a lot already. And this would prime even more. I do think this is the best option for us. Again, we are running out of time on this floor to rarefy, but we technically don't need to be concerned about that because we can rarefy on the last floor if we prefer. Is this? And it's useful because enemies are going to be very close to us basically all the time. So it's a bit of a safety net in a way, making that hit harder. It's kind of meaningful, but already at level 4, it might be fine. So I think I'm just going to take it as is. And this might end up being something we want to rarefy instead. Revenge boon? No. This, however, yes. I might rarefy this. Chain Lightning deals more damage and bounces up to 3 additional times. That's the big thing that I was looking for. Is that combined with the common rarity one that we picked up that now does 50 damage with each chain, courtesy of the infusion. That's pretty big. Chaining now 7 times total, I believe, and improving the damage further, which, technically speaking, I'm not sure what the order of operations is there, to be honest with you, between that multiplier and the infusion. Because if we're multiplying the 20 first, if we're multiplying 20 by, 1.45, or potentially a little bit more than that, if we are to upgrade this further, then it's still gonna come up short of 50. So it may mean that functionally it's still just gonna always be 50 damage from air quality, but if air quality procs first, and then it multiplies by 1.45 or more, then suddenly that is much more meaningful. So I don't know. Maybe for that reason I'll deliberately, once again, not rarefy. This Power Surge, which getting a lot of levels now. Do this. And even then, we still have a half-decent amount of gold. Not a crazy amount, but we have enough gold earning potential that we should still be fine. And we hop in here.
Until we meet again.
See how we fare against Cerberus. Excuse me, sir. Please don't do that. Alright, I can use charge attacks now, right? I know that was not a thing that I was allowed to do for a long while. I think that is no longer the case, though. Moment. No, bad Cerberus. Don't do that. There we go. No damage taken, I don't think. Few resistances, yes, but that's what they're there for.
All 3 monstrously sharp-fanged heads of Cerberus bend low in shame.
Oh, it's okay, buddy.
You're looking better already. Some gemstones.
Gemstones, indeed. Don't think there was anything else in here. Nope. Alright. Let's carry on.
This is it.
Final 4. We'll change the keepsake. We'll heal. It doesn't really matter. Oh, we do not have that much max life, I'm realizing. Maybe in part because we've deliberately been prioritizing rooms that have boons to benefit from the jeweled palm. But we still benefit from this even though we have some remaining. We can still swap off of it. So if we want to, we can go for one of these, which does, of course, mean we functionally get more life, which is kind of nice given how, as I just said, I'm actually a little surprised by how little life we have at the moment. But otherwise, we could potentially go Moonbeam, as I was saying before. We could, if we really wanted to get more Hestia, I think at this point might be the person who I'm most interested in getting boons from. Or Hammer, but I think that's not really the right time for that. So let's... And we don't really need the rarefication option here, given how we still have rarifications in storage from you. So, if we skip you, maybe we do keep it simple for now, just in case. I do like the amount of damage that we're rocking here, but still. It's a little late for this now. Ooh. Maybe, if we're feeling bold, It is ideal timing in that it should evolve by the time we get to Kronos. But we do still need to be mindful of the downside on what is a dangerous floor, of course. Let's do it, though. And then we get an extra item showing up there. Not really sure that we are all that keen on taking it, though. Out of curiosity... Kind of forgot about this. This actually... I would not necessarily be opposed to getting rid of it, because it is the one that we have leveled several times, and it is high rarity, but it only really benefits us when we use magic, which, as I was saying, I did do it a little bit against Cerberus, but otherwise we've more or less never done it on the run. And it's worth 240 gold, but maybe we're fine regardless. It just could be, it could be the difference between being able to afford one more thing in that super shop at the end and not being able to do that, so you know what? I am going to sell it. It's a rare time when you can maybe make the case for doing that, and maybe that's the reason for it. Just because I don't know if we've ever done it before. It's usually only in the most niche of circumstances, and it seems useful.
All this machinery. For what? Ever-shifting chambers. Realign.
I think you just answered your own question. It's probably for the ever-shifting chambers. Silly brat, man. Tricks are for kids. Surprisingly long room. At least it feels that way, because we seem to be deleting the enemies quite quickly. No, you wouldn't. Hades never shows up this early. Now you're gonna make us choose between Hades and Chaos? How dare you? Oh, I might be about to turn Chaos down. I think I am. In part because the upside is maybe somewhat similar between them. Obviously, there's a downside here. We don't take damage because we got this from the item from the mini shop, but for several rooms, we're gonna have the curse. But I also am curious if Hades is gonna have anything interesting to say to us. So that's a tiebreaker for me.
It's me.
And no other items in here. But yeah, obviously, would have loved to have gotten both of those things. So, not really what I wanted to see, but
These
alas.
shackles sap me of my force of will, but not entirely.
Yeah, we might have asked this, or been talking about this, the first time that we saw Hades in this room, a long time ago. But it is a little odd to see a god physically chained like this, because you would think Hades is an extremely powerful god. Surely he has some way that he can either physically or magically break out of those cuffs. So you have to think that that means those chains, those handcuffs, that they have some kind of special powers behind them that prevents him from doing that. I mean, they do have, looking more closely at them, the cuffs have Chronos symbols on them. The hourglasses. Oh, that's it. Okay. Restore life, or healing, basically. Chronos takes a burst of damage after 3 seconds. Gain damage based on number of Death Defiances used. I think we take the burst of damage, because we're going for the speeds.
All right.
I shall return.
The monstrous hound of hell bears countless fangs as if to say, back off.
Yeah. And he is gonna refuse, unfortunately. Alright. So we got our Hades room. Unfortunately, we had to skip the
Surprise.
Chaos room.
To think I could be standing there on guard duty right now.
Oh, Nemesis.
Then let's go.
Nope, nope. Okay, the scorch damage over time is a bit unfortunate. I'm a little concerned that we theoretically have a lot of damage, but it takes some time for it to apply. That might give Nemesis enough time to steal some kills from us, even when we have done the vast majority of the damage. So that was closer than it felt
Got me again somehow.
for that reason.
Don't mess this up.
But we did end up getting gold. We did end up beating her, so that's good. Yeah, already a rather strange floor this has been, Yoda says. Thing we need to be careful about on this floor is that, apparently, but also the enemies that are the hourglasses, because they can freeze you if you are standing next to them when they go down. And we would definitely be that close to them. Okay, so I think we are going mini-boss. It's Zeus, and it will have higher rarity, but we still have 3 rarity boosts that we can use here, and we could obviously use those in the super shop at the end if necessary. See which of the mini-bosses this is. Okay, it's Ratman. That's probably preferable, because the other dude is usually quite the problem. Get annihilated, Ratman.
Until we meet again.
I'm pretty certain he did not damage us at all. Okay, definitely don't have enough fear for that.
We're so accustomed to my sister-in-law Hestia being off on her own, why we even stopped saving a seat in my palace. But she's here to stay this time, aren't you, Hess?
Oh, I am fairly certain we have not seen what is about to be this Zeus plus Hestia duo boom before, because we, for a while, just did not take Hestia very often.
Dearest Zeus, perish the thought that I would ever leave again. You've given me such a warm welcome, after all, having removed my blasted seat only to put it back. Look, let's not worry hot stuff here with all of that.
Okay, let's see. What is it? We have not taken it. Your Blitz effects also inflict Scorch whenever they deal damage, 160 Scorch damage at that. Which is very intriguing, would be even more reason to get that Hestia boon that increases the rate at which Scorch deals damage. Out of curiosity, what are the alternatives? It's the Revenge boon, and it's the Magic Restoration. Yeah, we're definitely taking this. Very nice. Super Palms.
Just 2 more chambers.
We'll take it. That means it'll be more than 2 chambers, actually. This room is pretty nasty when you factor in the amount of projectiles / ranged attacks that these enemies can fire at us, and we were not positioned in a very good place to avoid them. Did find ourselves rather trapped in a corner, but fortunately, despite having taken way more damage there than we did against the Ratman, we still have lots of healing. Okay, so for this, we make the cast a lot stronger, sprint stronger. Okay, this is meaningless, because the Zeus infusion means we're already doing 50 damage at minimum, and that's not going to change by upgrading you. So it's one of these two. It's an incremental 30 damage either way. Just a matter of is it on the dash or on the cast. I think maybe we put it on the dash. Okay, definitely eyeing the extra gold, because it's worth a lot more than it would usually be worth, courtesy of you and you. 15 healing between rooms is nice. These enemies doing that is not nice. Go away, Ratman. The Ratman still hit me. How dare he? Silly Ratman. Oh, it was... I didn't even see the rats that the Ratman had created. I was like, I think that everyone is down. 675. Pretty nice. I think we might pass on this because we actually have taken enough damage to be a little concerned about that. It's to the point where we need some healing, and if we had more max life, then we'd look at that and we'd say, it's not a huge deal. The problem is, it's almost a third of our life, despite it not actually being that much damage we've taken in absolute terms. Who else is here? Ooh, not a fan. Please go away. Ratman go down? Yes. I see you. I see you too. Bully you. Take you out. Okay.
One chamber left.
Yeah, looks like we have no choice but to proceed straight ahead. Now just go a few rooms without taking damage, and the healing per room starts to add up. Now, this room also looks pretty nasty, so we might be about to see that get canceled out a bit here, especially when there are some of those aforementioned enemies who freeze time if you are next to them when they go down. Oh, pretty brief room though.
Titan.
Or we managed to do enough damage quickly enough that we made it brief. Okay, so it's either Super Shop or it's this room. Now, walking through this door I think is going to be enough for us to max out our healing. So it is nice from that standpoint, and this does give us several more opportunities to make use of this. Okay, and I guess we'll nab this while we can. And we have had this exact dispute earlier in the run, did we not? And we... oh, nab this as well. Kind of hard to see from this angle. Not a lot of area in which for that fish to be. Alright, so it's bouncing fireballs for you, and they actually create a little area on the ground that does damage if you step in it, versus several circles on the ground that fire somewhat quickly if you make Zeus mad, so I might still prefer making Hestia mad. Okay, and here, chain lightning effects could proc multiple times. If you rarefy this, it can get absolutely busted, so I think we might do that. Otherwise, it's a lower rarity version of this and level version of this one that we sold earlier. We can get it back if we really want, but no. I think we do this, and we do that, and now it's a 35% chance of hitting twice, and we still have one rarefy option remaining.
I grow strong.
Has old Hefty not taught you to respect the elderly a little more than that? Well, here's a quick lesson for you.
All right.
I mean no disrespect.
Oh, I totally whiffed on that cast. That is unfortunate. That's definitely not the last enemy. This part's nasty. Oh, I got stuck. I knew there was fire there. And there. But I legitimately just got stuck. Yeah, it's heat-seeking. It does have some ability to change direction. Alright, so we did end up taking a little bit of damage there, but I think we actually can still heal all this damage off just by walking into the next room, so still not a huge deal.
I like a lass who knows how to snap back. Don't ever let anybody up here push you around.
Okay, so we can rarefy one more time. Gain dodge. Double that when enemies are scorch afflicted. Oh, but this is the one that I was saying we really wanted to see. This is nice, but I think we rarefy and take you, because we have a lot of scorch effects now, including ones that do a lot of damage. So it takes a while for all that damage to proc. Accelerating that is a big deal.
The house is just ahead.
Okay. Now we're ready to jump in here. We're on full life. The life value is still lower than I would like it to be, but with about 2,700 gold, we might actually be able to purchase everything here. Technically speaking, this, we benefit most from the discount. It's what, a 10% discount? That what it is? Yeah. So we're saving 100 gold if we buy this first. Whereas in this case, we're saving 95. You know what? We'll take this first. Because it's slightly less that we are saving, but it is definitely something we want, whereas this is technically a luxury, and I'm not sure what's going to show up after this. It could end up being something very expensive.
Olympus, I accept this message.
Okay, don't know that I want to sacrifice here. Definitely not with the cast we have. I do like it. Cast getting bigger, though, does work quite well with what we have. Or make it so that we can heal. Which, if we had more life to be healed, that might be helpful, but it might still be useful nonetheless. Yeah, I think maybe we will take that. And then, okay, yeah, I was wondering if it was going to be a higher rarity and therefore higher price boon in this slot, and it is. So here, revenge, back for power surge. It might be revenge, even though I'm not generally a big fan of it, because we are likely to take damage given how close we are going to be to Kronos more often than not. So you know what, we'll do it.
Adequate.
Then we go here.
Name of Hades.
And for this one, we'll, I think, end up getting the power surge, which could still be of some use to us. It just does require that we actually go out of our way to use some of those charge abilities. And we can afford everything at this stage, so we might as well take you, and it's actually 3 that we get from that, which is nice. Do this as we can, and then we do this.
Shored up.
Which sort of makes up for our relative lack of life. I'm gonna be honest with you, this is almost half the amount of life that I would typically like to have at this point. It's generally in the mid to upper 200s that I like to have when you're approaching the final boss. So to be at 150, 155, that's a little bit of a concern, but 40 armor does help, and I think offensively we are doing quite well, so that helps as well. This is rank 10. I didn't even realize we got it up that high. And now, did we take the healing infusion, or did we opt for something else? I would have said that's, you know, another different type of defensive layer. I already forget. I see this infusion, but usually have a pink outline, and I'm not seeing another pink. Oh, it's on the second page. We have so many boons. So yes, okay. It's not an incredible amount of healing, but it's a non-zero amount. It takes a little bit of time to proc, but that's okay. I'm curious how much of a difference this is going to make. Thank you, Charon, for giving us a bunch of items that we could purchase. We have had times where we've had a ton of money coming into one of these super shops and just not have had meaningful ways to use it. So fortunately, it did work out pretty well in that way this time around. Okay. So we're going into the Kronos fight. We were just talking about what I think the big things are going to be here. The Hex should be quite good, and we also have this, which is going to help us do a burst of damage to him at the beginning. We have, oh, right, Luckier Tooth is going to sort of, functionally, give us more life if we do have to use a bunch of Death Defiances. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Wish we had an infusion that gave us more value based on the number of air boons we have, because 9 is a ton. Or fire. 8 is also quite good. I think Hestia's infusion does give you extra, was it damage based on fire boons? That would have been great. But otherwise, we're very interested, of course, in seeing what the conversations are like with Kronos and after we defeat Kronos, assuming that we do. Knock on wood.
Tell me something before I turn you back to dust again. If Typhon destroys Mount Olympus as you so desire, where do you expect he'll go from there? Back to sleep?
I think we have heard this before.
Oh, that is none of my concern. Ours is a wide world, and deep. Typhon shall have free reign to go where he pleases. Perhaps he shall rule over the seas in Poseidon's stead.
Liar. You plan to double-cross him. Send him roaring back to the abyss after your use for him has ended. Not even you are fool enough to disregard him as a threat.
That part might be new.
The future shall be well in hand, that I can assure you, granddaughter. Best focus on the present and the many hardships we endure.
I thought I recognized the first part of this conversation, but the second part I'm not so sure about. This might actually be, at least partially, if not maybe even entirely new. Hello. And now just gonna let the big burst of damage proc because that's gonna be enough to phase you. He is displeased. Oh, I aimed that. I did not realize I was facing the other direction. Aimed it in completely the wrong place. He's already at half-life. He's doing that. Now he can hit multiple times at this stage. Ooh, don't stand there. Hold on. That's a quarter life. Ooh, I don't like the friends that you brought. Not a fan of those. They're pretty nasty. Alright. Phase number 2, which makes this a good time to do that. And the Scourge procs very quickly. As you saw there, that brought him to half health. In fact, it was almost quick enough to prevent him from even doing his big one-shot kill move, which we actually stopped him from doing on the previous run, for I think the first time ever. Come on. Please stay in here. Boom. Also extremely quick, maybe even faster than our previous run.
Learn nothing from the past. Recklessly changed everything to suit your whim.
And we thought the previous one was our fastest Chronos kill ever. I don't know. We'd have to check the timer.
You're the one who's learned nothing, despite all the time you've had to think on it.
Oh, on the contrary, I know change is inevitable with time. The only question is, which sort?
That might be new.
The time cannot be stopped.
Or maybe not, because that sounds familiar. I don't know. It's so hard to try to...
In the name of Hades.
To try to see if things are old or new, at least in some cases. So I want things to be new. I want to be like, oh, that's a cool new thing that's been added. And then as soon as I don't recognize a line, I'm like, or at least don't immediately recognize a line, I think, oh, well, maybe that is new. That's awesome. And then there are little bits or pieces that pop up. I was like, oh, no, I think I have heard that before after all.
Such power.
Okay. Let's head on over to the Zacharias conversation, because that is definitely a place where we know we have seen some changes.
To the abyss of the subconscious I descend. It worked.
That it did.
Night and darkness guide me to my blood beyond the grasp of time.
Alright, so if I remember correctly, the previous run, Zagreus and Linui had a conversation that was, if not entirely the same as the original build-up toward the true ending, it was only ever so slightly changed. So is this going to be another one that is basically a repeat, a carbon copy? Or will this be new?
Which means, oh, alas, I never thought I looked just like him then. Only without the beard.
That, I think, is new, that little comment.
Ah. Hi there, Menenui. My investigation into our grandfather's scheming has begun, though difficult to make good progress without telling anybody what I'm up to. Don't take this the wrong way, but this truly is your only idea.
Yes, I don't think I can stop Kronos here. Even Olympus is stuck trying to keep his forces at bay. And he's far too hateful and hard-headed to stop on his own.
That's our family for you. Father certainly has no love for Kronos, but he never speaks of him. Do you happen to know what went over between them to have made things this bad?
I thought we had heard everything leading up to this. Maybe this specific paragraph is new?
You're in a better position to ask our father about that than I am. Kronos was a tyrant and his children wouldn't have it. The fates themselves deemed that the gods should rule. But that apparently wasn't enough for him.
So now you want me to soften for you? I mean, for us. I've had mixed experiences vanquishing certain members of our family before, but that wasn't forever. And you've said next to nothing about how you expect me to do it.
I know, I'm just going back and forth. Oh, we've heard this before. No, I don't think we've heard this before. I'm not sure this time. But let's see if there's any more buildup.
Look, I have knowledge of an incantation known as Dissolution of Time. It requires several complicated steps I shall explain along the way. If it works, it should unravel him.
Okay, so this is the kind of thing that I've referenced many times before. That technically, yes, we do learn of the dissolution of time, but then there's a missing piece that it, as we know, takes a little bit of time before we figure out what that is. But what is it that originally unlocks at least the idea of that incantation? Is it a conversation with Hecate? It so often is that I imagine that was probably the case, but that was so long ago, and it technically didn't even repeat that part for the new true ending, I don't think, or maybe that was the very first thing that happened.
Unravel him. That's a little vague for me, unless Kronos turns out to be a spool of yarn. Can you be more specific?
Unmake him. Destroy his ambitions along with him. Undo all the harm he caused. A threefold family bond is required. You, me, and Kronos. Then we shall infuse a special weapon with the negation of his very being. I'll get into that later.
Definitely new in this case, and this is helpful in that it is talking in part at least about how Mlinui suddenly has all the answers, although even some of these things I'm still shaking my head a bit and asking myself, well, how does Mlinui know that there needs to be a threefold family bond? That seems incredibly specific and no one has ever mentioned that before, so Mlinui is seemingly just coming up with that out of nowhere. You, me, and Kronos. Okay, the more natural way to say that would be we need 3 people from the family to be involved. We're trying to get Kronos, so obviously he's one of those 3. I'm the one doing the incantation, so obviously I'm gonna be one of those 3. Hey, Zagreus, you mind being the 3rd? Rather than just immediately jumping straight to, you're implying that it must be these 3 people, which is again just way too specific to just come up with that with no prior explanation. But even if we give that a pass, then we shall infuse a special weapon with the negation of his very being. Now, of course, we know that in the original true ending that is one of the solutions that Mlinui very quickly jumps to kind of out of nowhere, and it's a little bit more incremental this time, but it's still quite jumpy. We still never see anyone telling her this information, nor do we really see her making any key observations or even have some epiphany that leads her to this conclusion. So that basically leaves us with just 2 interpretations. Either these things happened, but for some reason the game decided not to show us that, which would be crazy because that would be really important information, or in the absence of having that information, she's either guessing or just making that up. And that's either an avoidable plot hole, or a pretty scathing reflection of Mlinui's character that she would be so reckless at this critical moment. So this is not when you want to see the writers getting sloppy or cutting corners in the first case, or in the latter case, giving us major reasons to be concerned about Mlinui's ability to get the job done because of personal flaws that are inconsistent with the character that we've seen up to this point. Oh, or she knew this all along and for some reason didn't say it last time we were talking to Zagreus, which just wouldn't make sense. And says, I'll get to that later. I mean, honestly, that might be the best part in a way, even though it's kind of a cop-out. It at least acknowledges that Mlinui is not going to suddenly discuss everything in full detail all at once when on the previous run we seemingly had no such answers at all, and nothing meaningful has happened since then that would have inspired us besides defeating Kronos once, but we didn't directly make any observation or hypothesis after defeating him to have led us to these findings.
Well, great. I think you've cleared everything up. Though I'll admit I don't like having to kill off family members just because Father doesn't know how to get along with them.
But yeah, I do like how, as we saw with one of the other paragraphs a little while ago when I was saying it seemed like it might have been a new paragraph that was inserted into a larger conversation that we had already had, or maybe this entire thing is new altogether, but it's making it a little bit more clear that we have actual reason to be mad at Kronos and to want to permanently defeat him for reasons beyond just the fact that he happens to be the antagonist in a game. You know, he actually is this guy who is causing a whole bunch of trouble and we can't find a way to peacefully make amends, so we need to take more drastic measures. Even then, it's still a little bit of a reach. A little bit extreme.
I have to go. Keep searching for any sign of him. And remember, this is for all of us.
Because in a way, Zagreus's critique there is very valid and perhaps more logical than Malinui's conclusion. Zagreus is like, hey, that seems to be a pretty big reaction to Kronos being uncooperative to just say, no, not only are we going to try to kill you, we're going to try to permanently unmake you because you being immortal and being able to regenerate is so much of an issue that we are going to delete you from existence altogether. You would think that'd be extreme because, as I think we saw come up in conversation, if not earlier in this timeline, possibly later on in the original timeline, someone basically saying, yeah, no, that's something that never happens ever for gods and goddesses, because it used to be that the way that you attempted to permanently get rid of people was by slicing and dicing them into a million pieces and throwing them into the deepest depths of Tartarus, which is what happened to Kronos the first time. But to take something even more extreme than that, then that would mean that you are absolutely desperate because things are absolutely horrible. And Zagreus has a good point that, hey, you should be pretty darn sure about this before you take those types of steps. So either you convince the player and Zagreus that the most aggressive approach ever is warranted because things are worse than ever before, or you go with the very surface level, Kronos is the antagonist and this is a video game and the only way we'll ever beat the video game is by defeating the antagonist. But that's obviously boring.
I will, and I understand, I think. We didn't ask to be born into this, but it's what we got. We'll handle it as best we can.
That's right. Thank you, brother. Take care of yourself. And be kind to Mother, Father, Cerberus, and all for me. From mists of memory, return to Shadow now.
So yes, I think we certainly at least saw some things there that were new. There's a chance that wasn't an entirely new conversation from all the way beginning to end, but there were definitely some components, I think. At the very least.
I suppose you'd not have liked it, living in that house instead of here.
Took you long enough.
She doesn't even technically have anything to say to us. Well, was of course another successful run.
Thank the fates.
The phrase you told me ended up revealing a new aspect of the Umbral Flames, a dark god known as Supai. Is that name at all familiar to you?
Obviously, we did this a while ago when this was, what, the second to last weapon aspect that we unlocked? So it did take a while. It wasn't crazy long ago, but I think the reason why this conversation is coming up now is because this is only our second ever run with the aspect of Supai, and we probably had some other important thing that we were talking about with Moros last time when we used it.
Not until now. The fates presumably chose each and every bearer of the Arms of Night. Those bearers may not be bound by blood, but are connected still. And it seems I was to be your link to this Supai.
And we actually had some question as to whether it was using the aspect of Moros or the aspect of, what was it, Eos? That ultimately led to us meeting the prerequisites to have the conversation with Moros that then gave us the ability to unlock the aspect of Supai, because we did not have the conversation that unlocked the aspect immediately after using the aspect of Moros. We thought that that was going to be the key, as is often the case, use an aspect that is named after someone and then talk to said person. It happened after the aspect of Eos run, which seems strange, because we've never encountered anyone named Eos. So maybe this is kind of reinforcing / confirming that it was in fact the aspect of Moros that led to us unlocking the hidden aspect on the torches, and for whatever reason we just didn't unlock the hidden aspect until another torch run later.
How can it be that there are underworld gods that neither of us know? Most of them must be your mother's side.
I couldn't say. Perhaps there shall be other underworlds besides our own. Or there already are.
Indeed, other mythologies.
That's quite far-fetched.
True.
That's far-fetched. Apparently, Greek mythology is the only mythology that exists. No? Talk about a fourth wall breaking, I guess, in a way.
What's all the commotion?
Having aspect named after people who are not from Greek mythology in a Greek mythology-themed game. A little bit of a fourth wall break.
You better cut this out, Trouble. Messing with Kronos, messing with Typhon, messing everything up. That's supposed to be my job.
Sorry.
You clearly did your job already. I'm in the process of undoing it. Much like how I often pick up after you here.
Indeed.
Well, you're not gonna. And even if you do, you'll look back on this and wish things were as interesting as they are now.
I wouldn't mind if things were boring for a change.
I would.
And obviously we have the trash can right next to her, which is full. So okay, maybe that's why she's not throwing the garbage in there, but I think we all know. Wouldn't matter if it was bone dry and completely empty, she still would not be putting anything in the trash can. I know Artemis is right there, but we apparently don't have anything to talk with her about. So this is just a matter of us potentially joining in, which we have done before, of course. I won't linger for that long. Okay. Not anything special there, it does not seem. Oh, hello, Charon.
Another shipment already.
We have his shipment. This one was a little bit quicker because it was Moondust rather than Nightmare. We have now learned we technically do need a little more Nightmare, so it probably does make sense for us to at least do one more Nightmare shipment here. And I think if we can afford to buy some Nightmare, that also wouldn't be the worst thing to do. I think... what was the number we needed? Either 5 or it might have been 7, somewhere around there. And it's 2 from the shipment, we just got 1 there. So I think we're still not quite at the number we need to at least max out all of the various weapon aspects. Then, of course, there's the familiar skins, which, sure, we could potentially do, but that's not really anywhere near as much of interest to me. Oh, okay. I mean, I didn't really mean to go here, but sure, we'll recycle a whole bunch of stuff. Because we can.
Dropping these off?
Not necessarily sure we're gonna make that much of a point of spending a whole bunch of kudos anytime soon, but in case we find ourselves interested in doing just that, we now have a lot more to work with, and there is a symbol for, yeah, stuff that you could still need for crafting purposes, so all this stuff appears to be safe. These things that we're seeing down here. And it has been a while since we've last done this, which is why there's a lot of stuff, and it is definitely adding up quite a bit. Oh, wow. Including even some of the rarer resources. We don't need any more. I'm a little surprised by some of these things. I think there's some things at the cauldron for, like, beast morsels, for example. Beast-loved morsels that you can basically craft however many of them you want. So whatever components are included in that one, they're always going to say that they have a crafting recipe associated with them. Whereas other ones, like the fangs, that might exclusively be for one-time things that are more interesting. This does have... oh. Exclamation point. Ah, okay. We obviously just used this on the previous run, but it was for the final floor, whereas it seems like in this case, it makes it show up between every single floor, not just the final floor. So I remember we saw one of these upgrades before and we were saying, it seems like we already had this. Why do we have to purchase it again? But this one, I think that is the distinction. That makes sense.
If time cannot be stopped, then we shall see. If spill my blood I must, so mote it be. So mote it be.
Alright. That one's done. And theoretically, it says we have 3 Zodiac Sand here, which means we need 4 more for that. Then I think we technically need to do this first, so that's 1 more. So 4 plus 1, 5 additional runs going down, and then we do the final Typhon fight, and then we can do the final Kronos fight. That's likely is going to be the sequencing and the number of times we have to go. And these are, I think, some of those crafting resources that I was just talking about. Oh, we actually picked up a lot of nectar in the previous run, which is nice. Possibly the past 2 runs. Because we were running a little bit low on that, so we could buy a little bit more gear, because that is still one of the things that we are very, very far behind on, relatively speaking, as we have not progressed many of our relationships very far, but there are a few I'd like to do that with, ones that we've been trying to make progress on, Odysseus. But outside of that, maybe Hecate. Outside of that, it's okay, even if we put Hades 2 down in the not so distant future with only 2 or 3 relationships that we've really seen all the way through.
Those sands that you recovered from our enemy, something of his nature in each tiny grain, a key of sorts to the dissolution of time. Do you concur?
This is exactly what we need. More conversations like this. I think this is new.
I do. That very incantation sprang to mind. An expression of all you taught me of his weaknesses. A means to unravel his very being, to bring death to Kronos at last. He doesn't seem to realize it's possible. Still thinks I'm just an agent of Olympus.
'Tis merely evidence that our concerted efforts have not been in vain. You cross the underworld like a tempest, whilst I remain in shadows. But when the Titan's time at last comes to an end, I dearly wish to be there myself. To see the look on his face.
Okay, and we know, at least from the original true ending, that is not the case, which was a bit of a surprise. Wait, was it? No. She was... I forget if it was that run or if it was the run immediately afterward where she gets captured. Is it the run immediately afterward? Now I'm blending them together a bit in my mind. But anyways, this is exactly the conversation that we've needed the entire time.
We'll get him, Headmistress.
That alone is leaps and bounds a huge improvement upon the previous ending. Ideally, would love to see 1 or 2 more conversations like that, and then I think you've added the big things that were so sorely missed before. But even just that conversation alone does a lot of heavy lifting.
Come here to gloat, huh? I beat him. I beat the Titan. Well, hardly matters. He's still alive, you realize, don't you?
She's just mad because we beat her.
I wasn't coming here to gloat, and yes, I realize. But this is still a step. If I could vanquish Kronos once, I can do it again. And one of these nights, he's not going to come back.
Yeah, because one of these nights I'll get my hands on him myself.
Now, technically, we know in the alternate timeline that that actually is the case, and that the first time that she sees him, she does kill him, which still seems absolutely crazy that after spending however many nights failing, not even reaching that fight, to just suddenly have all of the answers to defeat this extremely powerful Titan who she's never faced before, and that so many other gods and goddesses could not defeat single-handedly. It required that they all team up, and yet somehow Nemesis alone is capable of doing these things without the assistance of any other gods and goddesses. It's like, we can do it as a single goddess, sort of, but that's with the support from 20 plus boons, and it implies that Melinoe is weak, because despite that, it usually takes players multiple attempts to defeat Kronos, unlike Nemesis. So it's just kind of ridiculous, and to the extent that it discredits all of our accomplishments, if it feels like anyone can just stroll on in and defeat Kronos with little I mean, yes, obviously she has prepared, so I guess saying little preparation is not really fair, but she, by fairly objective measures, is weaker than we are, at least by the time we've gotten the support of many other gods and goddesses. So if she can just waltz on in and defeat Kronos, then why not have Hecate come in and do it herself? She doesn't need us to do it for her. Why not have Artemis, who is helping us at times? You know, any of the other Olympians. If Nemesis can do it, surely they could, and yet for whatever reason, they hadn't in the past, in actual mythology. It just kind of flies in the face of the actual mythology, to be honest, is basically what it comes down to.
Then you can do the gloating, right?
I think that's the big thing. It's just wildly inconsistent with the lengths that the gods and goddesses had to go to defeat Kronos in actual Greek myths. So unless Nemesis, I mean, I didn't know Nemesis from a Greek mythological standpoint until Hades 2. So maybe she actually is incredibly powerful in Greek mythology, on par with or even exceeding the power of some of the gods and goddesses on Olympus. And so there actually is reason to think that she would be able to single-handedly take down Kronos, but that seems unbelievably unlikely to me, or at least extremely unlikely. Maybe, you know, obviously I am speaking from ignorance here to a certain extent, but if you took almost all of Olympus to only temporarily, technically, defeat Kronos, that just seems really crazy that Nemesis can walk up and bonk him on the head with her sword and then call it a day, and somehow that's enough. So it's just stuff like that that feels like kind of sloppy oversights with the writing, where it's kind of similar to when they leap ahead with the main plot line and just have a whole bunch of stuff either happen immediately with no preparation, or characters just have suddenly all the answers to problems with seemingly no reason why they would have been able to come to these conclusions. That just undermines the much more legitimate things that have more reasonable progression. So generally speaking, that is unfortunately a bit of a theme. But as I said, that conversation with Hecate, that was a very good step in the right direction. Oh. Okay, no Skelly. So at least from that standpoint, it seems like a big improvement relative to the original true ending. And then, I mean, sure, that Nemesis conversation, I guess technically that's mostly me talking about the conversation that has not yet happened with Nemesis in this timeline, because she has not yet defeated Kronos on her first attempt. Maybe they have, in fact, changed that with the new true ending. I kind of doubt it, since that's technically a much more minor side point, but alas, we'll see when we get there. But either way, another successful run, and at that, one that perhaps rivals the power that we had on our previous run. I'm not sure if we're just having a lot of luck as of late. Maybe it's that we're using the hidden aspects and hey, those are just really strong. Maybe it's that we're using the jeweled palm and the other Fate's Whim keepsakes that make us way stronger than we would have gotten on other runs. But one way or another, we are absolutely pulverizing Kronos and all of his friends that we meet along the way. So gonna have to wrap things up here, but thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.